What's up, YouTube? What I have for you today is the Kawasaki Vulcan S, and it's damn good, and I'm about to explain to you why. So the first thing about this motorcycle you should know is the engine. The engine's been derived directly from the Kawasaki Ninja 650. The Ninja 650 has a parallel twin engine on it, roughly 650 cc's, hence Ninja 650. But the best thing about it is the mid-range and upper power band that you're going to get from this engine. On the sport bike, it pulls hard in the mid-range all the way into the highs. Now, they've changed that up a little bit on this cruiser. What they've done is they've increased the cam size. They've given you a little bit less RPMs, not much. They really didn't sacrifice the mid and the high at all on this bike. They really just kind of opened up the bottom end for you, which is nice. And if what that means is, if you're not familiar with it, that means the power's down low in the rev range pretty good. It really starts to pull about 4,500 RPMs, and that's just the type of motor this is. It's not a typical V-twin engine like you would find on your typical cruiser. Your typical cruiser is not going to rev like this. It's going to be cutting out right here about 5,000 RPMs, and you're not going to get any more power out of it. This bike loves to go past 5,000 RPMs. It needs to. It really enjoys it, and I think that's why this is a great motorcycle, because you get a feel from it that you don't get from any other cruiser. This bike gives you the performance of a Kawasaki Ninja on a cruiser body, and I don't think you can find that on any other cruiser, and I think that's what really makes this bike great. It gives it an excellent amount of power, and it's so much fun to just twist the throttle and go fast. I'm in top gear right now, and I'm just going to roll on the throttle, barely. This is maybe a quarter throttle. And damn it, it just keeps pulling harder and harder and harder, and it does not care. And that's what makes this bike great. The engine, it pulls so damn hard for a 650. You would not believe how many people I've led on this bike, and they just can't believe it. They'd say, damn, my 1100cc Harley it can't even think about pulling like that. Well, that's because it's the type of engine difference we have here. Now, this doesn't make as much torque as those engines, so down low, the Harley probably feels like it pulls a little bit harder. But in the mid-range and up high, this bike will literally run other bikes off the road. And I love that about it, because I'm a sport bike rider, and I've never really cared too much for cruisers because I'm a sport bike rider, and I love the feel you get from a sport bike. This cruiser delivers that feel from a sport bike, and I think that's the best thing about it. It is insanely over-designed for the price that you give for this motorcycle. I paid $4,000 brand new off the showroom floor. I got this for a steal. You'll probably end up spending somewhere between $5,000 to $7,000 on this motorcycle if you go buy it new. But it's still really good value for money if you're looking for a cruiser and not a sport bike. If you want this seating position, this is the bike you should buy, in my opinion. The gas mileage is excellent. Insurance rates are great. The power is phenomenal for a 650. You're not going to find one on the market. Any other 650 cruiser on the market is not going to be able to handle a drag race against this thing. This thing's going to mop it up and blow it off the damn road. And there's nothing, I just don't believe there's anything out here that can handle this thing as far as like the power output. You're not going to have as much fun as you will have right here on the Kawasaki Vulcan. And I'm not a Kawasaki fanboy. I love Yamaha. I've always loved Yamahas, but this Vulcan has seriously changed my opinion of what a cruiser should be. Again, that's just my opinion. The second best thing about this bike is the handling. It is so nimble. It doesn't care. You would not believe how easy this thing is to take through the twisties, and it's so friendly. It's so forgiving. It's not violent at all. It just knows what you want to do, and it does it, and it's perfect if you're a new rider looking for something to get out here and start riding on. I promise you, you're going to love this thing. It's got so much usable power. It's almost too much for a new rider. If you don't rev the crap out of it and you respect it, you're going to be fine. But if you could find yourself in a little bit of trouble if you seriously got on the engine on this thing and you're not prepared for it. It really does pull that good. But the handling makes up for the little flaws in the way the engine pulls. You really can't get it out of shape. You can really push this thing in the turns, and it really just handles it beautifully. I've taken this out on a lot of twisties with a lot of sport bike riders, and I can outrun them. I can't outrun all of them because some people that I ride with really know how to ride. And if I was on my sport bike, we'd be pretty much evenly matched. But on this, it's just a bit of a different feel when you're going heavy in the twisties, just because you don't have so much weight over the front end. That's really the only downside to it at all, in my opinion. It's just the front end doesn't have as much weight on it. You're not leaned forward enough to really commit to some super high-speed cornering. But you can get on the bike, and it does handle very well in twisties. You would be very surprised how easy it is to keep up with sport bikes. The third best thing about this bike is the value for money. You're not going to find something out there that I think can give you a better value. I just don't think you will. Not for the money you're going to pay for this, not for the insurance premiums you're going to pay for it, not for the fuel economy you're going to get, not for the power you're going to get out of this twin engine. It's just, it's its own monster, and I think it's really great because of that. This bike created its own spot on the market that just doesn't exist. I don't know of any other cruiser out there that's using a parallel twin off of a sport bike with a bigger cam that they've changed up enough to make it good. Kawasaki took something that they have probably been refining since 2008, 2009, and they made it great on another bike. They took their sport bike platform and they changed it, and I think they did an excellent job with it. I really can't say enough about the performance and handling about this bike. Now, there are some cons to it as well, some negatives, if you will, to this motorcycle. One, the seat is not the best. I gotta be honest with you, that's where Kawasaki kind of like over-engineered this thing. They really should have thought about, man, somebody with a fat ass might be sitting in this thing. Maybe we should make it a little bit more plush. That's really my only complaint about this motorcycle. The seating position's pretty good. The way your legs kind of throw forward takes some getting used to when you're riding it. But once you get used to it, it's really not a big deal at all. That doesn't bother you in the least little bit. It might when you first step on the motorcycle, but after you've been riding it for a couple months, you're not even going to notice that. What you will notice, though, is how much your ass hurts after you've been sitting on this bike for about an hour. Now, it's the real reason for that is your legs are out here in front of you. You can't pick your ass up off the seat. All your weight is on your ass. And the reason that becomes uncomfortable is because most people have a tailbone. And this bike has a curled seat and it pushes right into your tailbone. After about an hour, it just becomes irritating. You're not going for a cross-country trip on this thing, I promise you, or you're going to be making a lot of stops if you do. But around town, stoplight to stoplight, 45-minute ride, you're going to love this thing, I promise you. It's really excellent in those conditions. And if you've got buddies with sport bikes, this thing will gladly go out there and run with them. It is super fast. I'm not kidding you. Like, the bike really pulls. It's insane how good it pulls for a cruiser. I've ridden a Shadow 650 before from Honda, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's a joke compared to this Vulcan 650 in power. It really is. It's a night and day difference. I've ridden actually a 1300cc cruiser from Honda, and it doesn't stack up against this Vulcan 650 in terms of how well it puts the power down. And I think that's just because this has a shorter wheelbase, it's pretty light for a cruiser, and that engine was tuned very well for this motorcycle. Kawasaki engineers did an excellent job just setting this bike up and putting it together, in my opinion. I think the only thing that they really sacrificed on is they didn't think, man, some fat American dude, and I'm not trying to be biased here and say all Americans are fat, but I'm kind of a fat American dude, and I'm going to tell you right now, this seat's the only thing that bugs me on the whole bike. It really is. It just, the seat will kind of beat your ass up over time. It doesn't become pleasurable over super long distances. That's it. And I really don't even think it's 100% the seat. I think it's because your legs are out here in front of you and you can't pick yourself up off the seat. You just can't. I'm used to riding a sport bike where my bar or my pegs are lower. I can readjust my ass on the seat as I'm going down the road and kind of make it a little bit more pleasing as I'm going down the road. It gives me the ability to ride longer without having to get up and rest my ass, if you will. And I think that's really the only downside to this motorcycle. The value you're going to get for it, especially if you find one for $4,000 like I did, is just insane. The payment on it is absolutely nothing if you don't buy it outright. The insurance on it is very affordable. And the engine is going to go out there and it's going to smoke 80% of the cruisers on the market. And that, for an entry-level motorcycle at 650 cc's, is just insane. It really is. It pulls so damn well. And you just really can't believe it until you get on it and you experience it for yourself. A lot of people will say this is a chick bike. It's a low-level CC cruiser. It's gonna be slow. They have a mentality built up from that V or that twin engine, or not that twin, but the parallel, the V twin engine that's in a regular cruiser. They have that stigmatism there of like it needs to be over 1,000 cc's or it's going to be gutless. This thing, because of that Ninja motor, is excellent. It really is, and I enjoy riding it every single day, and that is why I keep it in my garage. That's really the only con I can give you for this thing is the seat's going to bug your ass over distance. But if you want something that'll just rip it hard off the line like a sport bike will, commit to some serious turns, fundamentally be as easy can be to ride, and put a smile on your face that you're going to just enjoy being on all the time. I said put a smile on your face that you're going to enjoy being on all the time. Just put a smile on your face and you're going to enjoy being on it all of the time. That I promise you. And if you don't believe me, shout out to everybody who lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Come out and I'll run it up against your bike and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Hell, I might even let you ride it. Might let you ride it. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I hope I didn't babble too much. I hope my opinion of the bike, you know, changed your mind, or at least made you think about it a little bit differently. Maybe it perfectly swayed you in the opposite direction, and if it did, that's excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to do here. I wanted to give you the facts, the things I love about this bike, the things I think you'll love about this bike, the things I think you won't like about this bike. I wanted you to have those so that you can make an educated decision when it comes to purchasing your own motorcycle. And that's all I've got for you guys. That is all I have for you. I keep this bike in my garage. I put a lot of seat time on it, and I really enjoy riding it. That's it. Bottom line. Ah, it feels so good. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking out the video. I really do hope that you learned something. I do hope that you took something away from this video, because that's why I made it. I want to connect out there with other people who enjoy motorcycles, who want to be on motorcycles. I don't want you to make a mistake when you purchase something. I want you to enjoy being out here on a bike, because it's not something everybody else does. It's not something everybody else in the world is doing. Sure, everybody's going to drive a car. You have to, but not everybody gets out here and enjoys motorcycles. And that's all I've got for you guys. Thanks for checking out the video. Shout out to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Dylan with Dylan. Peace.